Golden Guardians to now combo the Camille with something like a Galio. They're going to lock away the Taliyah, steal the Galio, and now deny the Camille combo from Niles and the AblazeOlive.
Camille Galio is such an incredibly powerful 1-2 punch with the Hex Tech ultimatum trapping you inside that small area while Galio comes in with that huge dramatic entrance to make sure that the fight's going your way. Taliyah is one of these champions that, remember, the name of the game with Taliyah, and we're going back to the broken record from Lock-In Tournament. I apologize, but it's got to be said each and every time. This champion shines when other players on the team have the ability to set up the seismic shove. The balance of the ability is that it's difficult to hit. Opponents have a large window to outplay getting shoved back. But that window closes if they're point-and-click stunned by a different champion. We'll see how Cloud9 wants to navigate the rest of the draft on top of that, because the enemy team will be picking up that Udyr. Iconic running that one here for the Golden Guardians. And there she is, a staple of competitive play here on this patch. Kaisa picked up for Stixxay.
The Kaisa is an important pick here for Golden Guardians because the Cloud9 roster is already looking like they've got a ton of globals or semi-globals with the Weaver's Wall, the ultimate from Galio, and so if Kaisa was on that roster, now you've got even more champions diving in. Instead, they're going to secure the matchup for Fudge right away, and we have exactly what we wanted to prep for, Flowers. Carry versus carry in the top lane with some of our newest players into the league who also happen to be representing the respective areas of player development. So Camille versus Galio, Camille versus Jax is a matchup that the Camille will have the initial advantage of. She's going to go with the Omni Stone, as you can already see the Ignite and Teleport runes, and ultimately it'll just come down to jungle diff. That's what it always comes down to in these 1v1 matches. Where the jungle's at, where the support sneaking in the bushes.
I love the Bruiser versus Bruiser volatile top lane matchup between these newcomers to the LCS stage. This is fantastic. Camille versus Jax top lane. So let's take a look at how the bans are shaping out for the rest of it here. Rel, Alistar, Senna, lots of focus onto the bottom lane from both sides, and rightly so. One more ban to go for the Golden Guardians right here. And what's it going to be, fellas? Still got 14 seconds to think about it here.
So I imagine Cloud9 wants to take away a Leona just because you know how sick Team Liquid was with the Taliyah Leona. It helps with your Jax, with the Galio. You can blind it here, and now the the Alistar and Rel aren't really on the table. You might get some value out of saving the AD, but honestly, if they want to play it safe, you already see the Kaisa. You can just take away whatever you want for Zven and try to last pick something for Vulcan, and it's going to be that play. Take the MF, let's see what Golden Guardians does, and it could be the Galio support. It's just always sad to see the Galio in the support role because he doesn't get as much value from the global presence from the mid lane.
Now, I love the fact that we started this off. It's almost poetic that we start this off with a stats comparison showing pentas versus no pentas, and now Zven gets to play the champion that he got the pentas on yet again. Maybe he'll be able to add a third one here in this game. Of course, that is quite a tall order. But Leona is picked away by the Golden Guardians here with Rel and Alistar out of the way. That's kind of your big remaining meatball initiator tank type of support. What is the last pick here for Golden Guardians? I need to see a mid laner. I need to see a AblazeOlive's pick. 10 seconds left to go. Their opponents will still be able to counterpick, so this has to be something he is comfortable with blind, and Syndra is just a staple of competitive League of Legends in these situations.
It's just too easy to go for a control mage right now, and I like the Syndra because it's going to set you up for Udyr quite well, and you really don't know what Cloud9 is cooking up, but they can always go back to some very standard mid lane champion for Perkz, or the support as well. We've discussed what the options they have right now, and it looks like it is just going to be more carry power for Perkz and less trying to index onto the side lanes to help out the Jax.
Okay, we got Azir picked up for C9 as the final selection here in this draft. So Azir versus Syndra over there in mid lane. Now let's take a look at what has been enabled for Taliyah, because this always has to be considered. Azir does not have easily applicable just point-and-click CC. Misfortune has no CC. Galio can get you with the taunt, but it does require some setup. The closest thing she has to just that snap CC in a lane is Fudge in the top lane, being able to use the counter strike with leap strike combo to set her up for the stun. So I expect to see Blaber to try to set Fudge up for success and play around him.
He has to. You got to help out your Jax lane out. Otherwise, why would you even pick Jax into the Camille matchup if you did not plan on helping the lane out? The Cloud9 draft, though, very explosive, although to get all those pieces to work together past the laning phase, I think can be a bit of an imagination exercise, because you also have to deal with Golden Guardians who are going to be pressuring the map very quickly. You have Udyr, who you know is making a ton of action happen across the map, and Camille, who is just a natural point of pressure.
All right, we're into the Rift very quickly here today. It's game number 4, and let's see how it goes down. Niles with the TP Ignite, as you already mentioned, means that he is more vulnerable to ganks than otherwise possible if he decided to take a flash, but he's got some incredible offensive capabilities here. Also running the Grasp of the Undying to make sure he wins that laning phase early on. Recall, if you will, that the way Camille Jax usually goes is Camille wins early on, but as the game scales further and further, Jax will eventually become the more powerful of the two unless Camille can command a very powerful lead from those early advantages.
Yes, and the way that Jax can manage that initial advantage that Camille has is being super aggressive, using Counter-Strike to dodge out on Camille's auto attacks, leaping when she uses the tactical sweep. This kind of aggression is what he needs to be playing off of, which is why you really want your jungler to end up on your side of the map, because you don't want to be caught out jumping in, using your cooldowns on the wave against Camille, and then you get ganked right away. So really important to see what the junglers think about here, and you can tell that Iconic pathing towards the top side, trying to help out Camille, whereas you see that Taliyah starting on the red side, but we don't know what the route is going to be. All we can see is that Udyr is going to get a fat leash, like we often see from teams like TL, and Blaber will not. So I think Iconic's going to be off to a better start.
Yeah, Blaber will just be able to kite this buff around a little bit. Taliyah doesn't have to take a lot of damage from camps. You just run around, make sure you're not hitting the work ground, get the entirety of the queue. Easy peasy. But Fudge and Niles up here, probably not going to see a whole lot of action from them here at level 1, but once it hits level 3 and everybody's got the skills, I want to see junglers come up there. Oh my goodness.
What?
Could this really be the level 2 gank from Blaber with the flash into the Counter-Strike with a seismic shove? Niles is just done, man. There's no way he gets away from that one. First blood for Fudge.
Oh, that is the unexpected level 2 Taliyah gank. You'd think she was going to be out power farming, but just runs straight top, gets a nice kill, and that's a really good help to your top lane. We're going to just take a look at this because Fudge is just auto-attacking casually, right? No one knows that this is happening.
It's level 1.
Yeah, why would Taliyah do this? You don't expect it to happen, and I don't even think that Iconic was able to capitalize on it. So we're just going to see it from a great replay angle. Look at that surfboard.
Jumping off the surfboard, riding down the river right into Niles' doom. Remember, no flash. This is what I'm saying. There's no possible way for him to get away from this one. You mentioned when Blaber started the red, you said, now look, Blaber's starting the top side, but we don't know his route. Turns out there was no route. Crumbzz, it was a one-stop shop. You go red, you go top. That's it.
Oh, man. And they didn't have to burn much for it, right? Blaber just gets to resume his jungle. He didn't lose any camps on his own side. He's still going to path bottom and might even be able to get a Scuttle Crab for it. So Jax gets a recall off. It's just all so good for Cloud9. But I'm still a little worried about what's going to go down when we start to group up. I really like what I see out of Golden Guardians, his ability to just pick off a ton of members, whereas, like you mentioned, not a lot of setup for Taliyah. Yeah, that cheese or little level 2 gank worked, but for how long? Because that setup will really not be that easy to pull off when you got 5v5s.
So now you got Iconic in the mid lane. Perkz with very low mana, half HP. Iconic's like, nah, he's just going to get away. This is the struggle of a run-at-you champion. If you see an enemy player who has his escape mechanism cooldown prepared and enough mana to cast it, you're just like, well, if you don't want to trade flashes with him, you just have to walk away. There's no play to actually be made there. So Iconic doesn't go for the play. Instead, just goes right back to farming up, utilizing the power of the speed clear on Udyr. You can see he's already a single camp ahead of his opponent. He'll continue to try to keep that lead going because Blaber did get the advantage of helping out for that first blood up there in top lane and providing Cloud9 with the 500 gold lead that they have right now.
Okay, and so with that gold lead, we wonder what is Cloud9 planning on doing, because so much of their game plan before has revolved around the bottom lane, getting a ton of first bloods or just kills or a lot of pressure, and this time around, it's fairly quiet, fairly even. Vulcan and Zven just casually farming away, so this time around with the level 2 for Fudge, I'm thinking this is all going to be indexing on the top lane matchup, which is something that they tried in the TL series. It didn't work out as well as they would have liked to, and here it is. Right, more people helping him out, even the control ward. So now you don't even know who warded that. It could be Blaber, it could be Vulcan. All that Niles know is that there are people coming up here, and look at the response on the minimap. Udyr running straight top.
Udyr knows that Cloud9 does not want to allow Niles to play League of Legends here today.
Oh, no.
Stun to interrupt the hook shot. Seismic shove coming out. Niles going down. Fudge grabbing a second kill. Perkz with a rotation over. A lot of damage coming out from Golden Guardians to make it a 1-for-1 here so far. Perkz has no ulti. They will not want to chase this underneath the turret. Fair trade top lane.
Okay, they get one, and Cloud9 did commit way more members on that, but the ADs were all recalled, so nobody was able to get more CS from that bot lane roam. And you saw how this play was going to play out, and unfortunately for Niles, I think he might have took too long on his hook shot. Yeah, I think he should have just hook shotted right away from that, but with a really good stun there from Fudge. Luckily, they get that kill, but they did have to burn the teleport out of Syndra, and that could play a difference in getting mid-prio before the next dragon.
Okay, nice response from Golden Guardians, but again, it's Cloud9 choosing to make the plays first, targeting Niles over and over again, guaranteeing that Fudge is going to have a great time scaling up. He's got a CS lead, he's got the 2-kill advantage early on in the lane, and considering time will favor him as it marches forward, he is a happy Jax. Now, Iconic is trying to ruin that happiness here a little bit, but it looks like Fudge is comfortable playing back. He knows where his own jungler is. He knows Blaber is off on the other side of the map having a great time, dropping down some wards, looking for a Drake. Anything that's not helping Fudge means Fudge is going to play safe.
I like that Iconic recalled right there and didn't waste any time, because you could just look at the minion wave. You see that the wave is pushing towards Fudge, and if you're in Fudge's shoes, he should know that there's no time to be aggressive right now. He's happy that he'll be able to hit his levels and start fighting Niles, who is going to use the hook shot to dodge out of the stun nicely. But as I was saying, just knowing that the wave is pushing back, Fudge should know not to be aggressive, and so that would mean for Iconic, hey, if the top laner is good, he won't be aggro here, so I should not waste my time. I should recall right away. He does so, and the lane resumes just fine.
Now back here in the bottom lane, which a lot of focus hasn't been on just yet, you can see Zven, the first player out of these 4 to hit that level 6. We know what bullet time does to multi-person fights, and it absolutely just shreds them. Stixxay and Newbie not likely wanting to fight up against that until they've got the killer instinct for the Kaisa, but Stixxay is still only a little bit past halfway towards that level. Vulcan just chilling out down here for now, even though he did make that roam towards topside earlier. Expect to see more of those from him as we march forward, especially once he gets that level 6. But back here in the mid lane, Iconic, level 7 on the Udyr, up 1 level compared to his opponent. Perkz getting a little bit of damage down onto AblazeOlive in here, and just continues to take control over the mid lane. As Iconic is setting up yet again, Fudge goes in, looking to try to use that counter-strike, but now he's stuck in a Hex Tech ultimatum, getting the slap from the Udyr with a shutdown coming out, and Golden Guardians tie this game up and take a gold lead.
I love this gank, Flowers. Look again at the minion wave, and you can tell when Fudge is going to go in. Niles is very low, the wave is pushing back, and Fudge is thinking, now he's very low, I can go in the second he uses an ability. So Niles is like, oh yes, look at me using an ability. Wait a minute, he's got hookshot. No, flash, and he's dead. All right, Niles.
Niles falls down in the top side yet again, and that makes it a 3-2 game here for Cloud9. Golden Guardians will manage to secure themselves a Rift Herald off the back end of that one. And Niles is all 3 of the deaths for Golden Guardians right now. So Cloud9's focus of him, yeah, it's paying off. But you got to remember, when you're only focusing the one guy, everybody else is having an okay time. Farm advantage in the jungle for Iconic. 2 kills on him. All of Golden Guardian's kills are on him. And then you've got even farm in the mid lane. Nice couple wave advantage for Zven there on the bottom side, as AblazeOlive will be handed over this blue buff for the second time. As Niles, your job is to farm up, buddy. This is an uncomfortable game. This is a bad situation. Nobody likes to be here, but this is a test of how you can manage to play a game that you are not having fun playing. We got to see how good the mental is here on these new, young, hungry players in the LCS.
It's not the only time he's been focused down this year. During the beginning of the lock-in tournament, lots of camping towards his side of the lane, but the Golden Guardians did put out a really nice video about Niles' path here, and I think this is someone that has gone through a fair bit of pressure, let's say, to get to where he's at right now. So I think that this is a fine situation for just challenging yourself. So many of these new players are looking for the opportunity to test that mental, to make sure that, hey, I'm down against a strong player that has a matchup that maybe outscales me. How can I play it? Against someone that's camping me with the jungle and support. So if you wanted a difficulty in playing top lane, this is it.
Oh, no, they're going to get him again, man. Blaber, you got us. This is bullying. Niles is down for the 4th time this game, and Cloud9 will just not move that target marker off of his back.
They struck oil in the top lane. Just keep going. All right. Doesn't matter. It's just free money up here. Just keep showing up into this lane because there's nothing else going on the map. So they can just continue to pressure this matchup. No flash. Easy kill. If you're not in range, you can't use the ultimate to dodge out of you. And that's another kill for the top lane. And still no answer in another part of the map just because of the nature of the champions. Udyr with Syndra against Azir. As long as Perkz is not in stun range, it's never happening. And with the bottom lane, you look at Zven, he's clearing waves with ultimate. So maybe Iconic can find another way to counter gank what's happening top. It's the only place Cloud9 has gone for, so it could work.
Well, Iconic has the Turbo Kim tank ready to go, so at least he's got his playmaking item ready, but he must read the situation correctly, as we've seen him do a couple of times here so far this game. If he can catch Blaber as he goes for those really aggressive walls like that, yeah, plenty of plays to be made. But man, every single one of these ganks just keeps setting Niles further and further behind. Blade of the Ruined King is done for Fudge. Niles has shoes and a toy lightsaber, 2 butter knives, and a bottle of 7-Eleven Big Gulp. None of this is as good as a Blade of the Ruined King. Niles is jumping in there. Fudge dropping a counter-strike. Golden Guardians coming up. They don't care about the Blade of the Ruined King. That champion's not even allowed in competitive play just yet. And Golden Guardians kill off Fudge, bringing themselves back up to a 3-4 game, and they're shoving this minion wave into the turret.
Niles just showing you how to take down someone with a butter knife here, Flowers, because he is really out-CSing Jax as well. You say he's been focused. He was keeping up in farm, and this actually is now swinging the entire top lane matchup. All that focus we saw earlier, this entire wave is going to be denied to the Jax. All of this gold going back to the Camille. Love this from the observers. Look at the gold. It's back to even. All that work to the top lane for nothing.
Hey, it's not just even. Camille is ahead by 2 melee minions worth of money. But the most important part about that sentence, Camille is ahead, despite the fact that he is 0-4 right here, right now. Fudge might just get dove again. No, they don't even care about Fudge. They want to go for the tier 2 instead. Turret destroyed in the bottom lane, but a tier 1 from a tier 2 is a trade you will take, my friend.
What am I telling you, Flowers? Don't sleep on Golden Guardians. They're even in gold here against Cloud9. Yeah, you're down by 2 dragons, but that's a fine position to be in here. Keeping up with the team that went to finals, took TL to 5, I think is a really big deal, considering that, the Perkz salary is probably worth the entire contract of this team. Yeah, that's a really good, positive start for Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians, man, keeping this game even 13 minutes in. Now, granted, that's just in gold, right? The objectives, the neutral objectives, have gone the way of Cloud9 here. Golden Guardians were able to use the Rift Herald that they got to secure that second turret there in the top lane, but 2 Drakes so far for Cloud9. Golden Guardians will have to start to answer this. It will be a Mountain Soul this time around, which will make it much more difficult for Niles and AblazeOlive and Stixxay to dive in there and find the damage that they need to find to blow these guys up on the side of C9. So what's the play here, Crumbzz? Because we talked about how new this Golden Guardians roster was, how a lot of these guys are moving up to the LCS level of play for the first time. If you have a roster like this of these guys that are inexperienced, remember what Freak was talking about earlier on in the day. For new players, for these guys who are fresher to the scene, the game gets more difficult as it moves forward. The situations become more complex and harder to navigate. How do you want to see these guys navigate this situation against a roster like Cloud9 from even ground?
I think right now you can have Niles thinking about pressuring Fudge in a 1v1 as long as you have deep vision, because you see that Vulcan keeps moving towards the top side just in case Camille wants to engage onto him. So they know that the 1v1 matchup is really important here. before they teleport into any dragon fight. So I want to see set up around the 1v1s, whether it's Fudge versus Camille for Cloud9 or Golden Guardians. Both teams know how important this is, because if you get this matchup ahead, then the teleports and flanks into the dragon fights are going to be even more valuable. Fudge just taking some free damage, seeing if he can bait Niles to go in. But he knows better than that. He's already fallen for this 4 times. 5 times is too much. You don't get to kill Niles 5 times and get away with it, but they're going on the AblazeOlive, and he is probably dead.
Oh, but Blaber's getting stunned up, and AblazeOlive is not going down without a fight. Nearly grabbing a return kill onto Blaber here, but close is not good enough. And Cloud9 picks up their 5th kill of the game.
Look at their speed with which they made a cross map. About 20 seconds ago, we saw Blaber and Vulcan in the top side thinking about killing Niles. Immediately, Blaber bots out of the map, already ganking the Syndra. It's those Sork shoes rush with the crazy mobility that she has. And so it's a teleport to match what Blaber is at, and just a really nice way to surprise AblazeOlive. 10 seconds ago, he was just by himself in the lane with TP and the Weaver's Wall. That global, semi-global that we were talking about in Champion Select that this champion offers is just a really difficult thing to anticipate, because you never know what angle she's going to come out of.
And remember, man, we're thinking about Cloud9 last year. Such a roller coaster for C9 fans. They were looking unstoppable. They were looking like North America's best chance ever in international competition. And then there was no international competition because MSI is gone, and then summer just falls apart and they fail to make it to Worlds. And the reason that I'm putting all you Cloud9 fans through this traumatic recollection of these events is because C9 lives and dies by the Blaber. When Blaber could pop off, when he's finding his way into the lanes and setting up proper ganks, the team looks really good. And so far, he's 100% kill participation, 3-0-2 here on the Taliyah, exactly what the doctor ordered.
When you win a split in the most dominating fashion we have ever had, when you keep counting on Blaber, I'm not feeling too bad about those chances. He's got all the kills right now and the stopwatch to survive. So I think that he's really set up well here. There's a lot of champions on the side of Golden Guardians that want to dive against you, get in melee range. So Blaber's job this time might not be what we initially thought the Taliyah was trying to do, which is combo with these point-and-click champions. She can just make sure that Golden Guardians' champions that are already trying to dive get CC'd, get knocked back, or just get displaced by her, and that'll be just all she needs to do to get value from the gold she has.
Cloud9 setting up here in the side brush. Rift Herald summoned in mid lane. Golden Guardians using this one here for the 2nd time. That is a 0 value Shelly. That is a very sad Rift Herald, summoned up and immediately just beaten down before she can get anything done whatsoever. Doesn't even prove a viable distraction, as Cloud9 will head back over into the bottom side river, take this Drake. Golden Guardians is not willing to fight for it, and that takes Cloud9 up to Soul Point. Golden Guardians now has to answer every Drake after this, or they give away the soul.
Okay, I mean, this is not the end of the world for Golden Guardians. They're still crashing top, getting some gold on the side lanes, but I felt like the initial setup that Jax was able to do in this lane is what allowed him to roam down without using the teleport, and so they were already at a numbers advantage before Golden Guardians had even figured out the proper lane assignment. So the Jax managing the wave properly, I believe he was holding a little bit of a freeze before that, now puts the team at soul point, and that's going to be a big one. That mountain soul against champions like the Syndra, even things like Udyr. Udyr won't do any damage anymore, right? Like, when that dragon is on your team, you can remove him from someone you think about DPSing and just see him as a complete stun bot.
Well, down in the bottom lane, Zven's got the Gale Force here on the Misfortune for some outplay potential. That item feels good on a lot of champions, but particularly for champions like Misfortune and like Jhin and all these champs who are balanced around not having a mobility skill. Giving them a mobility skill makes them feel real good about how they can play these team fights and position themselves. So keep your eyes on Misfortune as we look for opportunities for more fights to break out. But honestly, Crumbzz, there's not a whole lot to fight over right now on Summoner's Rift. 18.5 minutes into the game, no dragons alive. Baron can't even spawn for another 90 seconds. So unless somebody can hard force something here, we're sort of just waiting and seeing the team scale up a little bit further. Golden Guardians, you can see they've got control over this bottom side river, but there's still Cloud9 wards present. One that Iconic's running over right now that obviously Golden Guardians knows is there. They injured it once, so they're aware that it was placed, but not doing anything to sweep it away.
Nothing to fight for except killing the enemy. That's what you should look for. Vision's one thing. If you just see someone, just run at him. We heard from Corey JJ, it's criminal that if you can see a kill and you don't go for it, that should not be allowed. So Golden Guardians, they've got Niles, I think, to be your best bet at getting these picks. The Udyr and Leona, yeah, they're fine, but unless Blaber is out of position, you're really not going to catch anybody else out. So despite all the attention from Cloud9 onto the Niles side, the value that Camille has from locking somebody down with the choke you on her Bane ability, it's just someone you can always count on to get picks and start fighting over just somebody getting out of position.
The Cho'Gath R on the Camille Q. You gotta love it as Fudge continues split pushing down here in bottom side, man. Just trying to continue building up them leads, making sure he's soaking as much solo XP as is humanly possible. Now, with Vulcan going back to base, that means he will need to be a little bit more careful. You can split push with impunity. If you know you got backup nearby, they can jump in and help you out there with the ulti, but as soon as he's gone, you gotta get gone too. As Niles will now take his turn at trying to answer the wave here a little bit. But look at the caution on this guy, man. He knows how hard they're focusing him. He sees the wave right there. Yeah, it's past the mid-map point, but nope. He's saying, nope, this could be wrong. This could be another Blaber gank. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and his team is on the Baron side as well, so there's no point going for this if his team is not ready. If they were right next to the Baron with a control ward, I would want to see him overextend here because you would be able to maybe get a kill and have your team rush it down since you have Kaisa and Udyr, a lot of damage there. But there's always the risk of these cross-map plays that Cloud9 can make because they can't afford to send members to kill Niles and then TP or use their globals to make it into a Baron pit. So it's still risky for Golden Guardians to look for that kind of play.
Golden Guardians and Cloud9 are taking this game real easy right now. Nobody really looking for a fight. Everyone's content, just waiting for this Drake. But Cloud9's the team that actually feels comfortable with that. Because if you're in Golden Guardian's seat right now, that timer ticking down is a Monka W type of moment. Not just the Monka S, it is zoomed in because these guys know if you win that fight, if you take that Drake, congratulations. Tiny little bonus prize. Doesn't amount to a whole lot. If your opponents get it, 5,000 gold's worth of value with a permanently regenerating shield. So they have to take this massive, high-risk, low-reward fight, and they've got to be ready because it's 35 seconds away, Crumbzz, and Cloud9 has control over bottom side river.
Oh, they have full control here. Camille is just barely making it out into the map now, and AblazeOlive is just getting his recall now. He'll have to teleport back into the lane if they want to even contest Vision, minions, or the Dragon in general. Yeah, he'll pop it. Actually, no, he's walking. Okay, that puts Golden Guardians in the back foot. Real back foot here against Cloud9's Vision. Look at the control wards they have. So Golden Guardians just walking in blind, having Udyr face check.
Blaber goes for the seismic shove on newbie, but doesn't get it. Newbie staying 95% HP. The dude's feeling just fine. Iconic is ready. He has his flash to get back out of the pit or get into the pit, whatever has to be done. Drake already started up here by Cloud9. Golden Guardians looking to go in and fight for this. They know they have to. Newbie comes over the wall with a blast cone. Drake partially resetting, still at half HP. Seismic shove again, not finding the mark onto Newbie. Mountain Drake down to 2,500. Looks like we're going to get a 50-50, a smite fight. Blaber stays alive here with a stage. Wow. There's your bullet time. There's Misfortune. Perkz gets a kill on Stixxay. Everything is disappearing. Golden Guardians steal away the Mountain Drake, and Iconic is running like a bat out of hell. He got in there. He got the mission done. Stun, run, things done. I don't even know what the meme is, but the boy's out. But that means Cloud9, they don't care about losing the Drake, man. They're going right back on the other side of the map, and they're looking for Baron.
They're so happy that the Udyr flashed in, used the smite to try to steal it, runs to the other side of the map, because, yeah, this is a huge win for Cloud9. The Baron fight, and they had the fight in their eyes the whole time. Look at the angle that Fudge was flanking from, and so the combo between him and Vulcan just set up everything beautifully. It layered that Zven Misfortune ultimate right on top of it, and obliterated the Golden Guardians carries. They grouped up. Take a look at this. So you're going to see Vulcan and Zven combo into Stixxay and AblazeOlive. What a big catch. Both carries, and then Fudge flashes in. That's a big mistake, grouping together right in front of the crowd control of Cloud9, but they immediately see it. They take it, and they're very happy about it, because with a Baron now and the Jax with the Blade, he's going to win out against the Camille. The split pushing pressure is now online.
that fight, the one saving grace there is the fact that the one player on Cloud9 who died was the jungler, so it was super easy for Iconic to steal that one away. Now, Cloud9 also did a really good job when they took that Baron. They recognized there was no contest for it, even though the enemy jungler was alive because Golden Guardians didn't have the players. So they waited an extra 5 seconds for Blaber to come back alive so everybody could get the Baron buffs. So Cloud9 has 5 players wearing purple, 3,000 gold lead. Iconic approaching from the side here, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get a whole lot of anything done. Blaber goes for a seismic shove. Zven going in with a Gale Force. Iconic going after him. Blaber stuck on the front line. Blaber just dies to Stixxay. Cloud9, what in the hell was going on with that one?
Yeah, okay. Not sure what they thought that AblazeOlive was getting caught by himself, but they have Baron, and they're split pushing on the side, so they figured if we buy some time, maybe we can get something in the side lanes. They don't. Maybe Azir got to crash some waves, and the Jax 1v1 and got Niles to run away, but that really stalls them out. And I wanted to go back on your point, Flowers, about killing the Baron to make sure that your teammates get it. If there's no one around and you're not doing that, you are trolling. You hate your teammates. You really need to do that every single time. Hey, it's actually unexcusable. You get so much value from getting another Baron. If there's no threat of a steal, wait it out. Make sure your team gets it, whether it's solo queue or professional play. It's a huge deal to be able to boost those minion waves on the side lanes. Getting somebody else to have that can make a difference between winning a fight and ending the game, or just winning a fight and having to wait for the next Baron spawn.
Oh, man. Things are getting a little bit crazy here in this game of League of Legends right about now. Let's take another look. We got a replay showing up on what happened in the bottom lane. Niles' TP did get interrupted. Fudge chases after him, but Niles does get away with the incredible mobility of Camille. But then, man, back in the mid lane, from Cloud9, that felt like a we're better than you play. You don't make that kind of play if you think you're on even ground with your opponents. That's one of those super just really forcing the issue types of things that you're just like, hey, we can outplay you because we are more skilled players. It didn't work out. They end up overcommitting. Blaber dies, and I like the punish from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, they are not shy about it, recognizing the mistakes on Cloud9 and just going for it. It's the power you have of having absolutely no pressure to win this game. No, not a soul was expecting Golden Guardians to put up a fight here, so anything that they can do to take gold away from Cloud9 to make sure that they have a hard time here is a big deal. AblazeOlive has flash. He can always get out of it.
AblazeOlive, okay, yeah, he has to flash over the wall. He knows it's doomed if he doesn't.
They can go for him again, though. That's the kind of play they wanted to go for in the mid lane where they kind of ran down that Baron. So they could try that one more time now that the Syndra is actually without flash.
So Syndra, no flash. Good job getting the summoner spell there. Weaver's Wall, obviously, with a much lower cooldown than Flash has. But hey, it's 45 seconds, Crumbzz, and now we got to watch another episode of Mountain Soul TV. Golden Guardians hates this show. They managed to survive last week's episode, but man, it's another one coming out here tonight. And let's see if Iconic has the power to steal away these things back to back. Kim Tank, Deadman's, Force of Nature, all complete. Every single one of these items has move speed components to it. That's exactly how Udyr wants to build. But can he get in there? Can they get the kill into Blaber again, critically too? Because remember, that stops it from being the 50-50. Fudge is just making sure he mounts this side lane threat the entire time, and he has teleport to join up with the rest of the squad if need be. But unlike last time, it's Golden Guardians who have control over the bottom side river.
And they're keeping AblazeOlive matching the Jax because he's the one that has teleport. They know that Niles is here now, and there he is. Syndra teleporting, but Jax is also on the flank. How does Golden Guardians react to this? Because they got bopped last time, and here they probably will just keep Stixxay and AblazeOlive away from each other. That's the most important thing. Don't get them locked down together.
Stixxay and AblazeOlive, they're standing right next to each other yet again. Drake loses a little HP. Couple of skill shots being thrown out by either side. C9 making the call to burn the Drake. They're going in. Iconic still in the pit. Do they go for the 50-50? Stun lands only onto the Galio. Red team is slaying the dragon. You saw it here first. Cloud9 grabbing the Mountain Soul. And the fight breaks out afterwards. Beautiful two-man talk coming out from Vulcan with the ulti follow-up from the Cloud9 carries. Zven's being attacked by Iconic, but the boy does not care. Fudge barely hanging on here as Stixxay is on the run. It is a Mountain Soul plus 2 kills. Might just be able to make it 3. Stixxay tries to turn it around, but Stasis denies that play. And C9 wins out huge in this bottom side fight.
It's another flank from Cloud9 that Golden Guardians does not know how to respond to. So newbie's in the back, which is really difficult because Niles goes in right away, and now there's no way to follow up anything more. AblazeOlive had already used his stun, so when they go in, there's no follow-up to each other's crowd control. Jax has the stopwatch to buy time, and then it's all over. When they commit so much to one side, they lose the dragon, you know it's done. And then at the very end, even Stixxay is not able to get that final kill because there's another stopwatch once again. It was so difficult to keep track of these because of how quickly the setup for the dragon fight happened. Out of nowhere, we were split pushing, and then it was a dragon fight.
Okay, Golden Guardians, y'all are now stuck in a real bad spot. Baron is spawning once more. Cloud9 is closer to the objective. Crumbzz, what's the call here? How do you play this? You're 6,000 gold down. The enemy team has the soul. The top side of the river is totally dark. What is the most likely to win move in a situation where it feels like everything has a 10% success rate?
Okay, I'm going to keep going on Niles, but using Stixxay as well. You've got another champion that can really dash at you. If you can find anybody by himself, Jax is probably no longer a viable option, but really now you got a team fight.
Oh, Zven goes on a killing spree. Stixxay is gone. Fudge continuing to tank up against everybody else while Niles is doing the same. Both top laners continuing to run, but it's Niles running away and Fudge running them down. Niles falls. AblazeOlive and Stixxay are already out of the picture. It is Iconic and Newbie versus all of C9. I don't even think these boys need the Baron, Crumbzz. All they got to do is have one of their players just tank up the Nexus turrets instead of the minions. Minions hang around for the backdoor protection. One of y'all walk up there and tank it. There we go. Vulcan, the team player. Nexus turret number 1 under fire. That thing is gone. So is Vulcan. Not quite as clean as I was hoping for, but clean enough to win this game of League of Legends. Newbie dies on the steps to the base. Iconic is trying to cut the wave, but Cloud9 don't even care. GG, well played. C9 takes the win.
Big dominating win out of our other finalists. So it looks like one of the teams really got a lot more practice or value out of so many games played towards the end of the lock-in tournament. And the Golden Guardian squad, honestly, I was pretty happy about that. They kept up in the first 20 minutes. I thought that was...
At least the first 15.
Yeah, that might have been the time where they would have lost if you saw these two rosters on paper before the split begun. So here, I liked what I saw, maybe making sure that Niles doesn't die quite that much, but clearly the plan was to focus him. So to think that Cloud9 wasn't going to be able to get some gold out of that seems foolish.
Yeah, and I want to throw this back again to what Freak was talking about earlier. Freak is a smart dude. I use intelligence as a dump stat, so we're going to take his wisdom instead. He was talking about how younger teams will have more difficulty in later stages of the game. I think it's a great sign that Golden Guardians was able to have the laning phase, the early game down pat. Now we just need to see more practice in that mid-game and late-game decision-making, how to have everybody properly positioned and set up for these objective-based fights. But I think there's a lot of promise here, and I'm still really liking the fact that Golden Guardians is going with this young roster trying to bring up the native NA talent. But a young roster still has quite a mountain to climb up against teams like Cloud9 after they take the win here today. We're heading to a break here now, but after that break, we're going to hear from LaTigress and Blaber in the Verizon post-game interview. Don't